Right now at 6, students rally after ICE arrests a teenager.
It's been kind of hard to just go out and just enjoy our lives.
But new tonight, see why federal agents say they detained the 17-year-old as neighbors plan to line the streets to show their support.
Our community will do anything for kids.
Then, what's next for Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups after pleading not guilty in a federal gambling case? Plus,
over the next several days, thousands of people will be coming through PDX to kick off the holiday travel season. Just how things are looking right now and just how many people will be taking to the roads this year.
We are beating pre-pandemic numbers by a wide margin.
And later, how 2 strangers helped save a man from the frigid Columbia.
I'm just there doing what I would do as a proper, decent human,
We begin here at 6 with breaking news. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek has declared a state of emergency because of a Northwest fuel pipeline that is currently shut down.
We're talking about the Olympic pipeline and a leak near Everett, north of Seattle. The governor's executive order just in laying out that gas prices in Oregon could rise as the state works to bring fuel in ways that are likely going to cost you more. And during some of the busiest travel weeks of the year, we should mention. For context, prices jumped by double digits in Oregon during a pipeline disruption in September. The pipeline, by the way, supplies 90% of the state's transportation fuel. The silver lining, though, if we can call it that, little to no impact on flights at PDX since enough jet fuel is brought in via ship, barges, and trucks rather than through this pipeline.
But that is not the case in Seattle, where the FAA is asking pilots to tanker fuel into SeaTac, bringing extra fuel from their departure city. Airlines, including Alaska and Delta, say they're making fuel stops, traveling with extra on hand, and warning passengers about possible schedule changes.
It's kind of scary because I wasn't sure how they were getting the fuel here, but they said they've had alternatives, I guess, trucking it or something. So we weren't sure. I kept checking my phone all the time to make sure that our flight wasn't canceled or delayed.
Yeah, this is expected to affect passengers on long-haul flights out of Seattle the most. In Oregon, though, the governor's state of emergency is set to last until Christmas Eve.
It's affecting their learning because they don't know if they're going to come home to an empty house or not.
Developing this evening, students rallied outside McMinnville High today after ICE detained one of their classmates on Friday, a 17-year-old who, it turns out, is also a U.S. citizen.
In an update today, officials told us the teen was arrested for trying to block federal agents. Our team coverage tonight starts with that arrest. Celine, what have you learned?
David, Christine, so according to the Department of Homeland Security, they say on Friday, Border Patrol agents were barricaded by that 17-year-old student who was driving a truck, and that's what led to his arrest, as well as the arrest of another driver in another vehicle who was doing the same thing. So they also confirmed the student is a U.S. citizen in a statement. According to the McMinnville School District, that student was on his lunch break when he was arrested by federal agents and released on Friday night. Monday, McMinnville High School students staged a walkout in support of their schoolmate and others who have been detained by ICE. Students today saying many of their classmates are feeling fear during these times.
It's been kind of hard to just go out and just enjoy our lives without having to worry about being just kidnapped. And my best friend herself, she texted me earlier saying how she was scared herself of just leaving her house. It's affecting their learning because they don't know if they're going to come home to an empty house or not.
So DHS says that the other driver that barricaded Border Patrol is a 20-year-old U.S. citizen. So far, neither of these individuals have been charged. Now, they say this is not an isolated incident, and DHS says that it's a part of a dangerous trend of people using their cars to obstruct officers while doing their job. Back to you.
Appreciate the follow-up. Thank you, Celine.
Well, team coverage continues with Libby Dowsett nearby Dayton, where school officials are now asking neighbors to step up.
When students in Dayton get back from Thanksgiving break, they may notice something different on their way to school.
Our community will do anything for kids.
Local residents, the Dayton school superintendent, and school board members calling for neighbors to step outside every weekday morning at 8:15 and every afternoon at 3:15 in a show of support for students who are worried about immigration enforcement. Superintendent Amy Fast posted on Facebook, quote, "Even if one child in our district is scared to go to school, that is a problem we all must own."
They should see it as a message of hope. So.
School Board Chair Larry Rinalda tells us students and their families are scared, especially after hearing about a 17-year-old student arrested by federal agents in McMinnville last week.
There has been some that have been last week on Friday asked to be picked up early, and some hesitance to have the kids come to school. Yeah.
Pediatric psychologist Celeste Jones with the Children's Clinic says staying home from school due to fear is tough on kids.
When we get kids isolated, that has a lot of downstream negative impacts. We know that from the COVID era.
19-year-old Bianca Soseda works as a landscaper in Dayton.
And I've got coworkers who are scared to leave their houses right now.
She said a friend of a friend knows the teen detained in McMinnville.
I have a younger sister who's 17. I couldn't even imagine what I'd do if it was her getting taken away.
I think it's really hard even for us grown-ups to know, how do I describe this? What has happened? How do I wrap a narrative around what has happened in a way that is protective and fosters well-being versus raising their anxiety even further?
When they come and I'd stand up and say, hey, how's it going?
Dayton resident Benji Hedgecock says he will be out on his front porch Monday morning.
And wave to them and smile and tell them we got their backs and we want them to feel safe.
In Dayton, Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
So many stories coming out of our communities. Stay with us as we continue to follow the impacts and response to immigration enforcement in our area. You can find the very latest here online at kgw.com and anytime on our free TV streaming app, KGW+.
Well, to a live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera, looking over the Rose City on this Monday night with weather top of mind, given we are just 3 days out from the Thanksgiving holiday.
Just 3 days out. Matt, what should people be expecting?
Turkey,
Okay.
Cranberry.
The cranberries, mashed potatoes, gravy, all the good things. But as far as getting to that Thanksgiving meal, you're going to have pretty good travel conditions here in the Northwest, much better than other years and other parts of the country. It's very festive up at the Oregon Zoo right now. Folks enjoying zoo lights, 44 degrees. Cloudy, touch of rain falling out there right now, but just a little bit. We'll be mainly dry overnight. Our high today was 50, a little bit below average this time of year, but ballpark, within a couple degrees. Only the South Coast climbed into the mid-50s. Everybody else, low 50s, west side, 40s, east side. We are going to see warmer weather, though, roll back into the Northwest, especially as we go into Thanksgiving Day. So tomorrow, areas of fog and cloudy down to about 39, then cloudy, but by midday, by about noon or so, the rain will begin. And once it begins, it's going to be with us through the rest of the day tomorrow, most of Wednesday, and a good chunk of Thursday before it backs off a bit on Friday. Even then, we're not done. So this is how it breaks down. Rain returns tomorrow, as I said, about midday. Rainy and mild Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the 50s. And the good news there is we don't really need to worry about snow in the passes through Thursday and even into Friday. Now, it will get colder as we go to the end of the weekend, but it's also going to get drier. We'll begin to clear things out. We'll be watching that snow level and where the precipitation lines up very carefully. And coming up in a bit, we'll also take a look at the national weather scene, how that might impact air travel around the rest of the country. Guys?
Okay, weather, travel, and some turkey a little later. Thanks,
all of it.
Matt.
You bet.
In your headlines tonight, Portland police are asking for help finding a man they consider to be endangered. Authorities say 48-year-old Raymond Sprague was last seen around 10 Sunday night, leaving OHSU on TriMet bus number 8. His family is concerned about his well-being because of a medical condition, though they did not elaborate on exactly what that is. Anyone who spots Sprague or knows where he is should call 911.
A fire and explosion at the Longview Country Club had firefighters in Southwest Washington busy this morning. The good news, no one was hurt. Firefighters say they could hear the sound of propane venting after the building collapsed shortly before the explosion. The building that caught fire was used to store golf carts. The cause is under investigation.
And Multnomah County Commissioner Shannon Singleton wants to make some changes to the county's deflection center. That is where some people caught with hard drugs can choose to be connected with treatment instead of going to jail. Now, data shows less than 2 people per day on average were referred to the center in its first year. Singleton is proposing changes that include bringing people into sober shelters, adding homeless people served to the county's by name list, and allowing all shelter providers to refer people to the deflection center. Tonight on The Story, she'll join Blair Best for a live one-on-one that's coming up at 6:30 right here on KGW.
In an update, Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups was arraigned in federal court in Brooklyn today, where he pleaded not guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering in connection with a gambling scheme that authorities say involved the mafia.
Evan Watson's here. Evan, we should note Billups has already denied any wrongdoing.
Yes, that's exactly right. His attorney saying Billups would not jeopardize his career, his life, his reputation for poker profits. With that, today was the first major step forward in Billups' federal case. The Blazers head coach is on leave from the team. NBA Hall of Famer and Blazers coach Chauncey Billups walked into a New York courthouse on Monday next to his wife, daughter, and attorney. Billups faces wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy charges. Prosecutors say mafia members and others used Billups' celebrity status to draw people to rigged poker games, ensuring big profits for everyone involved. The judge in the case set Billups' bond at $5 million. Billups didn't make any comments before or after the hearing, pleading not guilty. Cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom. He's one of 31 defendants charged across 2 federal investigations into illegal gambling, and arguably the most notable. Billups is not charged in the case connected to illegal gambling in the NBA, but prosecutors allege that a person matching Billups' history told a sports bettor about a plan for the Blazers to tank for a better draft pick in 2023, helping gamblers rake in a profit. Billups remains on unpaid leave by the NBA. He was arrested the morning after the Blazers' first game of this season. Prosecutors told the judge that they're in early talks about plea deals with several of the defendants. While the Blazers play on, this case might take a while. Billups' next hearing is now set for March 4th. The judge said he wants to begin trials in the complex cases that involve 31 defendants by next September. I also reached out to the Blazers for comment today asking about Billups' future with the team. I did not get a response for the team.
All right, we'll see what happens next. Thanks, Evan. KGW News.